Hi, my name's Senga Lindsay. I'm a landscape architect here in North Vancouver. It's late June. We're on our edible green roof, and I'm going to talk a bit about where, when, and how to grow tomatoes. It's been a very cool, wet spring here in Vancouver. We had one last year as well. I lost a lot of my tomatoes to an early tomato blight. If you want to check that out, look at some of my previous YouTube videos on why do my tomatoes look like crap, because we did have a lot of tomato blight last year. This year we're doing things a little bit differently, and I'm going to show you in a couple of minutes what we did. I have here examples of tomatoes we've been growing outside for the last 3 weeks. This one here in this container is a bush variety. This one here on the trellising is an indeterminate variety. It's an heirloom variety called Bloody Butcher. And I just want you to take note of how small these ones are compared to, say, this tomato here, which I've been growing inside in containers up until a few days ago. You can see the big difference in the indeterminate varieties here. Just an example of how not a lot of heat can affect the growth of your tomatoes. So you want to place your tomatoes in a sunny spot, at least 6 hours of sunlight, lots of warmth and sunshine as possible. And when you do plant your tomatoes, just a little tip, you see how this one's looking a little bit spindly. Well, if you take a closer look at the woody stem here, the stem's starting to get a little woody and it's got little nodules on it. So a little tip is when you put your tomatoes out, feel free to plant them even about this deep. So plunge your stems about this deep, because the little nodules are actually roots that will germinate into the soil and anchor your tomatoes. So there's a little tip on how to plant your tomato plants. Okay, the next tip is I want to show you, especially for our wet season here in Vancouver. We're going to go over to our containers here. Again, these tomatoes were planted the same time as the ones I just showed you. Look at the difference on these ones. And the tip here is simply this. We cover our tomatoes at night with plastic, and even during the cooler days, because what the plastic actually does is it acts like a mini greenhouse. So when the sun does come through, it superheats up our plants, and you can see the difference between what I showed you that was uncovered and the ones that were covered. Now, another tip for growing tomatoes, we've got these again in containers. We needed to have raised planters on our roof for load purposes. This is about a little less than 5-gallon pail of soil. You want to have lots of soil in order to be able to grow these indeterminate varieties. These ones here are called Moneymaker, another heirloom variety. We grow all heirlooms here for taste and flavor, and chefs love the heirloom tomatoes. So this particular container here is full of a highly water retentive soil. It's got polymers on it so that we're not having to water as much. I put in special tomato fertilizer to keep these guys growing as quickly as possible, to help them set fruit. And as you can see already, we do have flowers starting as well. So it's very important that now we keep our tomatoes warm and covered. When it is sunny, we take the plastic out. We have beehives on the roof that will help pollinate these flowers. We also have, for the indeterminate varieties, which can grow 6 feet or more, we have a trellising system. We're a little bit ornamental here, as you can see, because I am a designer, so I want it to look as attractive as possible. So we'll train these tomatoes up this obelisk. Another tip that you want to look at is, if you can see in between your main branches of your leaves, and that's right here. One of the tips as you go along and grow your tomatoes through the season is you want to nip out these little sprouts in between your main leaf branch and your main stem. Why you want to do that is you want to train one main stem up of tomatoes in order for it to fruit nicely, as well as these little shoots suck out a lot of energy out of the plant. So by removing them, period, all the way up the plant, you want to train the main stem, and you want the energy that would normally be reserved for growing these shoots back into the plant and back into your tomatoes. So, a few little tips on how to grow tomatoes in even a challenging cooler weather like Vancouver. Keep them covered at night, keep them covered during the colder weather or gray days. Use containers. If you have containers, make sure they're about 5 gallons worth of pure soil. Use highly water retentive soil. Another little tip, black containers also will help attract the sun, warm up the soil, which tomatoes like. Make sure that you have lots of pollinators around. You can use flowers in your garden to attract pollinators to help pollinate your flowers, and make sure you fertilize regularly with a tomato fertilizer. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you want any more tips, please visit my website at www.sengadesigns.com. Thanks for watching.